What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Sounder at Heart studio space in the ID. We are laying this one down at 5 p.m. on a Friday. Why? Because we're real grinders, but also primarily because the Seattle Sounders, coming off their epic round of 16 victory over the Vancouver Whitecaps in Spokane, have now learned their opposition for the Conacaf Champions Cup quarterfinals, and it was almost FC Cincinnati, but it's not FC Cincinnati. It's Tigres. So we're going to be reacting to that mostly, talking about our expectations for this matchup, if this is the matchup we wanted. And then I think at the end, we might talk a little bit about this Minnesota United game coming up on Sunday at Allianz Field. Probably, I don't know about you, Noah. I don't really care about that game that much, but we're going to talk about that game a little bit at the end. But how are you doing, Noah? Back from Spokane, recharging, and getting back into the content groove. How you feeling?
Recharging is a phrase that I wouldn't use, frankly. We were right back at it. We got back yesterday.
We didn't stop.
We slept for maybe, a couple of hours, got back into the office. There's now a big-ass table in here. I'm designing a whole set studio. Things are churning. Things are moving. Big shout-out to the Spokane Soccer Show for hosting us. Benji Wade was incredible in Spokane. I had a great time.
Shout out to everyone in Spokane. Shout out to Flatstick Pub. Shout out to everyone who came to the show. Shout out to everyone who went to the game.
Yeah.
I mean, it was honestly an incredible experience, us going out there and getting to see history, and then also, a win for the Sounders, giving the fans in Spokane a treat, and we were treated very well by everyone there. So nothing but positive things to say about Operation Spokane.
Couldn't agree more.
Also, shout out to our sponsors, Hakes and Ferments, Full Pull Wines, Podium Menswear, LobbingScorchers.com/sauce, LobbingScorchers.com/kit. All great ways to support the show. Also, become a YouTube member if you're watching on YouTube, like the video, all that good stuff. No, let's just, okay.
And,
all right.
and guys, Christian Roldan, he got called up to the U.S. men's national team, correct? Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong.
No, of course I'm not wrong. And he's going to be playing in the World Cup. It's going to happen. I want you guys to get one of the new U.S. men's national team kits with Roldan on the back. The World Cup's coming. U.S. Soccer Shop is partnering with us. U.S. Soccer in general is partnering with us. So if you want 10% off your entire order of anything U.S. men's national team, U.S. women's national team, or U.S. soccer in general, go to LobbingScorchers.com/USA. And when you're in the checkout, use code Scorchers. Make sure you use it, because then you'll get 10% off your entire order.
Good plug, good plug. And if you're mad that Christian Roldan's going to be playing at the World Cup, stay mad.
Stay mad,
ready to learn it, buddy.
Stay mad.
All right, no, let's get into this pod. We might keep it a relatively short one today, but we do have to lay it down because this is big news, and I'm actually very excited to talk about this. The CONCACAF Champions Cup quarterfinals matchup is set for the Seattle Sounders. It is mighty Tigres, one of the most storied, successful clubs in Liga MX. And Noah, where I wanted to start with this was just talking about the decisive match between Tigres last night and FC Cincinnati, because Tigres was down 3-0 on aggregate going into that match. And I was thinking, man, there's like a real chance that the Sounders are going to have FC Cincinnati in the quarterfinals. And my thoughts on that were, that's great. Like, I do not fear that proposition at all whatsoever.
In fact, I encourage that proposition.
I encourage the proposition, and that thought was thoroughly validated by how this leg two went at Tigres. FC Cincinnati, bro.
Temple massager.
That was one of the all-time temple massager performances from an MLS team in CONCACAF Champions Cup.
Kind of a car crash, if you ask me.
Well, and look, it's frankly not all that different to what we've seen happen to a lot of MLS clubs that go down to Mexico for these games. It's not all that different than what happened to the Seattle Sounders against Cruz Azul last year. This was significantly worse than that, but Seattle got kind of ran on in that series. Most MLS teams, when they're going on the road to Mexico in CONCACAF Champions Cup, that is sort of what happens. But this was worse.
Yeah.
This was worse because they were actually up 3-0. They were actually up 3-0 on aggregate going into this game. All they had to do was not exactly what they ended up doing, which is letting Tigres run all the way over them all game. Every
game.
second of the entire game.
Relentless.
It was relentless. They were not ready for the smoke. They were not up for it at all. They got scored on twice in the first 10 minutes of the match, which completely chalked all the work that they did in the home leg. At that point, it's just a toss-up again. And Tigres ends up going up 4-0 on them. And then they actually lucked their way into a goal that would have sent them through. Kevin Denke, who had missed a sitter, a really bad sitter, a few minutes earlier, gets on the end of an Evander set piece, makes it 4-4 on aggregate. They would have been through on road goals if they could have just held the rest of the game. And there was never any chance that they were going to do that, but they did get within literally like 30 seconds of doing
inches, man.
30 seconds of actually seeing out that 4-4 and advancing. And I'm not going to lie, Noah, when I was watching that at the end of the game, I was like, just absorbed for 30 more seconds.
Yeah.
And then the Sounders have I was looking at it like, dude, the Sounders are going to beat the shit out of these guys.
It's
like,
not even a competition.
Yeah. And that's kind of where I wanted to go next was with the knowledge that we feel like FC Cincinnati would have been a much easier matchup, and that now it's Tigres, which they showed in that game. There was a very big quality differential between those two teams. I don't care what happened in Cincy in the first leg. Tigres is way, way better than that team. So part of me was rooting for Cincinnati because of that is what I'm saying. I was like, yeah, come on, guys, like get it done, knock them out, because they wouldn't have deserved it really at all based on how that second leg went. But because they actually got those 3 goals in the first leg, they were in a situation where they could have lost 4-1 and still advanced. And of course they couldn't do it. Tigres scores a goal literally 30 seconds from full time, and that sends them through. And now the Sounders have to play a much better team than they would have if Cincinnati had gone through.
And they have to travel to Mexico.
Yeah,
which they would not have had to do if they were playing FC Cincinnati.
So the thought exercise I wanted to do along these lines is, which one of these matchups do you want? Because I was thinking that I wanted FC Cincinnati because it would be easier. But by the time it was all said and done and the dust settled, I was sincerely thinking, like, you know what? Fine. Bring it on. If you want to win this tournament, you're going to have to beat teams like this at some point anyway. You're not going to get through the entire thing on a Mickey Mouse path. If Tigres got upset by Cincinnati and that makes the quarterfinals easier, you're going to have to play LAFC or Cruz Azul, right, in the semis. You got Toluca on the other side of the bracket. They're probably going to make the final. They lost 3-2 to San Diego FC in their first leg, and I was thinking maybe Toluca's more vulnerable than I thought, but that didn't seem to be the case. Toluca absolutely destroyed San Diego in their leg 2. So, you may as well just, to be the best, you got to beat the best kind of thing. But also it wouldn't really benefit you that much to be playing Cincinnati in the next round just because it's easier like this. And this is the other thing I was thinking about is it's much more of an epic, legendary story if you do this by getting by Tigres than almost anyone else, there's a few of these Liga MX teams where if you beat them in these tournaments, it's a huge deal. Tigres is one of those teams, and they're really, really good. And this just has so much more juice than Cincy. It's going to be so much more of a spectacle. And the other thing about it is that game that I was watching last night, Cincy at Tigres, that stadium looks absolutely insane. The environment looked absolutely insane. The Tigres fans were going crazy. The Sounders now are in a situation where they're going to one of the craziest venues that you can play at, certainly in CONCACAF, but I think even globally, some of these Liga MX teams, when you're talking about the history behind it and the environment and how crazy the fans are and all the things you have to deal with that. This game, when Seattle goes there, it's going to be as crazy as pretty much any of those that you could ever play in. That's better. That's more epic. That's a better story. It's got way more juice. So I'm good with it, man. I'm not gonna sit here and complain about not getting the Mickey Mouse path. The Galaxy are in a situation right now where they're Mickey Mouse and they got Mount Pleasant in the last round, and then I can't remember who in the first round. No disrespect, but it's like these
Actually,
are
full disrespect to LA Galaxy because
no full disrespect to the LA Galaxy, no disrespect to their opponents, but it's just like there's kind of no way that they have the resources or spending or roster weight to compete with even the LA Galaxy. That's not going to help them when push comes to shove at the end of the day, at the end of this tournament. Like they're going to,
and they still had to absorb the travel.
Yeah. So like bring on the best is what I'm saying. That's kind of how I feel about it. What do you think?
Listen, I kind of wish that we would have played Nashville. I'm sorry, not Nashville, but I wish we would have played FC Cincinnati. Nashville is on our side of the bracket. I just because I don't really give a shit about what people have to say about like the Mickey Mouse run. We already won this trophy with a very hard path. We went to Mexico and didn't lose a single game.
Dude, I saw people, I shouldn't have gone on Twitter, but I literally saw people today saying that the 2022 CCC doesn't count because they beat Pumas.
Which it's like, yeah, people will always have whatever. I don't care. I want an easy path. I want a path that has the least amount of travel, that has the least amount of chance of players getting injured, the least amount of chance of anything bad happening. Simply just the travel down to Mexico. It is 90 degrees every single day there right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where they're about to go play in Tigres. It is hot as shit. Going down there, hot, warm, sweaty environment. Sure, are they going to be up for the game? I mean, I think the Sounders can do it, but it's always just this factor of like, I'm always just like holding on for something bad to happen when they have to travel. That said, I don't mind facing Tigres. Like, I love the opportunity to embarrass a Liga MX team. I love the opportunity to, play a team that we haven't played in a while. We played this team in 2022 at Lumen Field, beat them 3-0. People want to say, that
definitely didn't count. That didn't count because when Liga MX teams travel here and lose to MLS teams, then that's when the travel is
right. Exactly.
You can use it as an excuse then. Yep. But if MLS teams go to Liga MX and lose in the exact same way, then they're unambitious and it doesn't count.
Which it's, I think Keith Costigan in our interview that we did with him said it really well. It's shifted from, can MLS teams just hang with Liga MX teams too? Now we're in the era of MLS teams are being expected to go down to Mexico and win to be considered quality. And that's insane. That's a big change. I think the Sounders can do it. I'm excited to watch it. But I'm not going to lie. I'm still going to be nervous. I would love to go. But also it is literally going to be 90 degrees.
There's going to be, I'm just going to tell you all right now, there's going to be very lengthy portions of this series over both legs that are not going to be fun. They're not going to be fun to watch. They're not going to be fun for the players to play in. If someone gives you the choice between watching even 5 more seconds of a couple of these games and actually getting tortured, I think we would all pick getting tortured. Like there's going to be 10, 20, 30 plus increments of time at some point in this series, maybe even more than that, where they're absolutely under siege.
Correct.
And that's not going to be fun to watch. It's going to be anxiety inducing and we're all going to hate our lives. But that doesn't mean that this can't be done necessarily. When I look at what happened to FC Cincinnati last night, it wasn't about talent or roster spending. Look at their roster. They have Evander. He's just as talented as a lot of the number 10s in Liga MX. Yeah. They have Kevin Denke. He's just as talented as a lot of the number 9s in Liga MX. They have Miles Robinson and Matt Miazga. You can say what you want. They are at least in the ballpark of as talented as a lot of the CBs in Liga MX. What happened to them last night and what happens to MLS teams a lot in these scenarios, it's about intensity. It's about if you're up for the energy and you're able to withstand those moments where you're suffering and whether you can punch back when you get punched. And they couldn't do it. Like they didn't have the dog in them to do it. Does Seattle have that dog in them becomes the next question. I'm not saying that it's for sure a thing that when Seattle goes down to Tigres, that a similar thing is for sure not going to happen to Seattle that happened to FC Cincinnati. But I think Seattle I would be surprised if they are as not up for it as Cincy was, I guess, is what I'm saying. Like,
and Tigres are middle of the table in Liga MX right now. Like, this is not Toluca. Toluca's not even top of the table right now. Chivas is top of the table, but we don't even need to talk about that. It's not like this is a dominant, insane powerhouse of a club. Like, yes, they have talented players.
Cincy made them look like Real Madrid last night, but they did almost lose. They were 30 seconds from losing that series to a Cincy team that I think both of us are on the same page at this point of like that team. They're in trouble. Like they have a lot to think about. They have a lot to figure out. Pat Noonan, he's under fire. He said at his press conference last night that we weren't up for this. We didn't look like we were ready for this, and that's my fault. Well, okay. You better figure that out. Otherwise, you're probably not going to be coaching there for much longer. But anyway, continue.
No, I think you're looking at a Tigres team that's definitely not bad. They're definitely not a bad team, but FC Cincinnati can put 3 past you. FC Cincinnati, 4. They can put 4 past you. They can put 1 at home, 3 at their home. 1 at your home, 3 at their home. And I just like that team, Cincinnati, they do have a good attacking core, but they don't even hold a flame to what the Seattle Sounders have in a roster right now. Like I'm not sitting here scared of Tigres. I'm not sitting here happy to play them either. But like, what the hell, man? Give it to me. Give it to me. At least it won't be just like a wasted midweek effort, brush it off my shoulders like FC Cincinnati would. Because FC Cincinnati, I'm sorry, they're basically like dandruff flakes. Like you're nobody. You're not good right now. Give me a team.
I was watching Evander last night, and he was basically playing like the brigade says Albert Rusnak plays. And I saw that, and I think that is kind of a thing with Evander. Is he locked every second of every game? He pulls out these great goals, puts up big numbers, but he kind of looked disinterested last night. I thought maybe people disagree with that, but I was keeping an eye on him, and there was second balls that he was not hustling for. And there was one in particular where I felt like he really could have ran it down, and he let up and he started jogging. And I'm thinking to myself, in that scenario where there's a second ball, you think Paul Rothrock's going to be jogging?
No, dude.
You think Paul Areola is going to be jogging?
No.
Hell no. Those guys don't do that.
No.
So, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's about intensity and mentality and whether you have it or not. Since he didn't have it, I think there's at least a better chance that Seattle does have that, at least compared to that team, because they weren't even close, to be real. Like, they
he literally only had to play for 30 minutes. He subbed on in the 62nd minute, and he couldn't even give 30 minutes of a damn.
Evander?
Yeah.
No, it was the opposite. He played 60 and then subbed off for the last 30.
I'm sorry. Okay.
But like the point stands, like he was like
I'm sorry. That's what I meant to say.
But Pat Noonan was saying like, oh well, we could have left him out there to grind it out, but he hasn't been playing full 90s that much this year. But it's like he wasn't bringing it in the capacity that you need to take the result in a game like that. He just wasn't. Yeah. And I trust Seattle's players to bring that effort and intensity more than I do Cincinnati. So none of that's to say that I feel like Seattle's a favorite in this series or that they're for sure going to win this series. But I do think they have what they need to give that team a run for their absolute money. And that's really what I'm going to try and use as the barometer of what I consider a successful showing. Like, compete, give them a run for their money, score as many goals as you can, play as hard as you can, empty the entire tank, and then let the chips fall where they may. And when those chips fall, you might be getting eliminated. But if that happens, do it with dignity. Don't go down like Cincy did with a whimper, like looking like you don't belong on the field. That's what would upset me, is if this series ends up like that. And I don't know, how likely do you think it is that this series ends up like that? Because I would be surprised, but I don't want to say that that's an outcome that can't happen, because look, there's a lot of the same guys on this Seattle team that were on the team last year when they played Cruz Azul in this competition. And we can be honest, like, they got worked pretty good in that series. They lost that 4-1 on aggregate. There was periods of that series where they looked kind of like the classic MLS team that's just under it the whole time and can't handle the game state, can't handle the tempo. So that could happen. But I think this team right now, is better and more mentally tough than the team that played Cruz Azul last year. And I think that gives them a fighting chance, maybe more than they ended up having last year.
Do you think that the Vancouver Whitecaps team that we just played is better or worse than Tigres? Because I think that's a better club than Tigres right now. I think that's a better club than Tigres, and they effectively made the Whitecaps look like nobody.
Seattle won their series against Vancouver by a bigger aggregate. They won theirs 5-1 on aggregate. Tigres won 5-1 last night, but they shipped 3 in the first leg. The Seattle team hasn't got 3-0'd by anybody this year. As for if the Whitecaps are better than Tigres, I think it's pretty comparable, to be honest. I don't think that one is that much better than the other. Like, I will say, you know, Tigres might be mid-table Liga MX right now. They might have got worked 3-0 by Cincy in the first leg. But when I was watching them play last night, I was like, damn, this team is pretty electric. Like, I think it almost helped them being down on aggregate as much as they were.
The fight
because they were just playing they were going so hard pretty much the entire time. And
yeah, dude, Aguirre had 2 goals and an assist, and same with Jonathan Herrera, who had 2 goals and an assist.
I think their roster probably is deeper than the Whitecaps. They were bringing guys off the bench that were the guy who scored the game-winning goal is insanely good, and he came in as a substitute.
31-year-old.
Yeah, and that guy's going to be a handful.
Gignac is still on that team, and he's 40.
Yeah, 58-year-old
He's 40 years
Gignac.
old.
He's still doing it. He was out there at the end of the game too. So, I mean, yeah, I don't want to understate. Like, they're loaded. They're really good. I think they're probably about as good as Vancouver, which I think a lot of Liga MX fans probably would crash out if they heard us say that. And also, Seattle beat the Whitecaps badly enough that I think people probably think lower of the Whitecaps now than they did previously, but I don't.
Sure.
Like, I think that Whitecaps team is still very much a top 2-3 team in Major League Soccer right now, and a top 2-3 team in Major League Soccer. That is as good as a lot of these Liga MX teams. You can deny that if you want, but I think we're ultimately kind of talking about a wash here. So all that's to say that I think if you can beat that Vancouver team 5-1 on aggregate, then I think you can hang with this Tigres team and maybe beat this Tigres team. Like, I really don't think it's crazy or homerism to sit here and say that.
I don't think so either. I really do think this team is that good. And even so, I think, like you have been saying, and really this has just been ringing so true for me, the Sounders are over the CONCACAF-ness. The Sounders are over it, man. They've done too much. They've played in too many of these games. That bullshit doesn't even affect them anymore. At least not to the extent that it does like a team like Cincy, who have just not been in that situation enough to. You got to earn your scars in this stuff to really have a chance. You think Paul Arriola is going back into Mexico and not turning up? Yeah, that's like dude. It's a perfect storybook for that guy. You think Jesus Ferreira, the Pirate of the Caribbean himself, is going to be rattled by CONCACAF? No, hell no. Like, he lives and breathes CONCACAF. I know, people say Pirates of the Caribbean to insult the opposition that he did it against. I mean, every other player in the pool at that time that was getting minutes had those exact same chances to score the goals that he did, and they didn't do it. And it's also, but more than that, it's just an experience thing. Like, he has been there, done that. And a lot of guys on this team, like Christian Roldan, Stefan Fry, they were on the 2022 team that won this tournament. Christian, Jordan, Paul, Jesus, Paul Rothrock was born for CONCACAF. It's just this roster is much better set up to withstand this than I think, it's about as set up to withstand this as you could hope for an MLS team in this situation. And in LAFC, that's if you look at the teams that are actually doing well, the MLS teams that are doing well in this tournament so far, it's the teams that have earned those stripes, have earned those scars. LAFC, Danny Boanga, the all-time leading scorer in Conacaf Champions Cup, I believe. Yeah, and they've been grinding these games. They've made a run to the final. Yep. They've played away in Mexico. They've been there and done that too. And they can go to Alhuense in Costa Rica, which that team's not as good as LAFC, but that is a very, very hard road trip. You got to be advanced. And they've won it twice. They've won it. Like, you got to be advanced in the CONCACAF to go on the road and take a result there, and they did that. So, like, is LAFC
better than Inter Miami for that? I mean, I would probably say yes, but like it's like, and that's a good segue into.
I was gonna say,
next,
you know what team isn't built
topic.
for CONCACAF?
But
Inter Miami.
Inter Miami's roster is on paper better than anyone else's in MLS, probably in MLS history by far. But guess what? Lionel Messi he's not earned the CONCACAF stripes. Not even the GOAT himself is immune to this. And they were playing against Nashville SC.
Reed Baker Whiting owns Lionel Messi. Everyone, please get out your notebooks. Welcome to school. Welcome to class, because Reed Baker Whiting is in session. That's right. He pickpocketed that man in a final, destroyed him. One of my favorite photos is literally Leo Messi laying on the ground and Reed Baker Whiting is dribbling past him. What does he do? He comes in for this match. Nashville SC wins 1-1. Road goal. I mean, come on. They're not built for that. Reed Baker Whiting is built for CONCACAF. Messi, not so much.
One goal over 180 minutes against Nashville SC. And you're telling me that team was going to win CCC? Come on, man.
No.
There are levels to this. And you can have Lionel Messi on your team. You can have Herman Berterame and his no goals on your team. You can have Reguilon on your team. You can have Mikael on your team. You can have this guy, that guy. You can spend this much money on that guy and this much money on the other guy. When it comes down to it, and you're in this tournament, you got to be up for it, and you got to have the experience. You got to be battle tested. And that Inter Miami team is so not all of those things that they couldn't even make it by their MLS opposition. Again, one goal in 180 minutes. And the other thing that let's just revel in this for a minute. Because first of all, at our live show in Spokane, it was going on at the same time as Inter Miami Nashville SC Leg 2. And it was very funny. The entire crowd at Flatstick when Nashville scored was electric, erupted in thunderous applause. It was electric. And then when the final whistle sounded, it was the same thing. But Inter Miami, you know, I'll be the first to admit I actively antagonized the entire city of Miami and the state of Florida at large over the offseason regarding Inter Miami. I made a whole video about how just because they won one MLS Cup, that doesn't mean they've surpassed Seattle necessarily or anyone else. I titled the video, I think, Inter Miami is still chasing the Seattle Sounders, whatever. Inter Miami fan base, they weren't happy with me. And that's fine. Like, I started it, so I can take that. But guess what? If you're going to camp out in our comment section all off season and chirp away, just talking, you got to make it further than the round of 16 in CONCACAF Champions Cup, where you crash out against Nashville SC when you score one goal over 180 minutes.
Yeah.
Freaking pathetic, man.
Pathetic, dude.
Pathetic. One goal from Lionel Messi over 2 legs against Nashville SC. I don't even know what we're talking about with that team anymore. Get out of here. Like, you got your one MLS Cup last year. Congratulations. An MLS team wins MLS Cup every year. You need to win multiple of those for that to establish any sort of legacy. But also, their whole organization knew that they needed to win CONCACAF Champions Cup for their project to be fully validated. And they spent $30+ million to get their roster to a place where they thought that they could for sure guarantee that they were going to make a run and probably win the tournament, all built around Lionel Messi. They went out and got Berterame, who looks terrible. They went out and got Dane St. Clair, who I actually think looks pretty bad so far too, which you were saying that you've been beating the he's overrated agenda. That's looking pretty validated so far. So, you know what? Maybe a little karma for you all out there in the state of Florida, because there was a lot of chirping, a lot of talk going on, and then that's the performance that the team puts out in the round of 16, not even against a Liga MX team. I just don't even know what we're talking about. Like, it's
you gotta
joke.
buy for
it's
what?
A joke.
You gotta buy for what? You literally gotta buy for what? You did nothing. That had to be better, man. That had to be better. It was fun on the drive home from Spokane. We threw on I think the Drive Pink dialogue. Shout out to those guys. Yeah,
because we were like, let's get some Schadenfreude going. We need something to kill time on this long-ass drive. Let's plug in an Inter Miami podcast and see how they feel about it. And they're not happy, nor should they be.
No.
And they fully admitted that Javier Mascherano's tactics in leg 2 at home were cowardly.
Yeah.
They scored that goal, that Messi goal, in the 7th minute and then sat on it for the rest of the game. Tried to bunker troll ball their way seeing out the series, and it was one of the most cowardly displays I think any of us have ever seen. And this was the Drive Pink dialogue saying it, not us.
Not
they
me.
were crashing out over Mascherano's tactics, rightfully so, because when you have Lionel Messi on your team trying to troll ball your way out of a series like that, you should be going for it.
You got
Messi.
for it. Yeah,
you got the most
Messi.
loaded roster in MLS history, and you're going to sit on a 1-0 for 83 minutes? Like, Mascherano, he won a little bit of equity back for winning MLS Cup last year, which I would argue he got a little bit lucky on that, but he got job security and equity back for it. He shouldn't have that now. That should all be gone. He should be under a lot of pressure, and Inter Miami should be embarrassed, man. And we're going to let you all hear about that because you let us hear about all your MLS Cup, whatever, over the offseason, and we took it. So you're going to take this because that's embarrassing, man. That is embarrassing. And guess what else was embarrassing? Getting absolutely bombed off Lumen Field 3-0 in the Leagues Cup final, and then having your 48-year-old malcontent striker spit on a Seattle team staffer. How many more times are you guys going to embarrass yourself before you call it on the Messi project? I guess we're about to find out because the latest edition was the most embarrassing thing I've seen yet. Actually, that's not true. Spitting on Gene was the most embarrassing thing. But this was a close second.
You have to imagine Jorge Mas just gripping his some sort of sponsored beer beverage.
Imagine spending $30 million to win a tournament, and that's the performance you get.
That's what I'm saying. It's like you have to be absolutely embarrassed, and you have to admit the Messi era has been a failure. There is nothing that you can say to me that will convince me that winning a shield, which is the least important trophy in Major League Soccer, because, again, incredibly unbalanced schedules, just doesn't matter. No one cares about it in the league in North America. It's a Mickey Mouse trophy. Then winning MLS Cup at home against a team that is literally the geographic farthest team physically possible. Congratulations. You won one trophy that means something. And you outspent the league 2-1. 2-1. You cannot tell me that this team has been a success with Lionel Messi. He's done nothing. He has done nothing. Congratulations on your MVP, my friend. Too bad you
Two MVPs.
Congratulations on your back-to-back MVPs. Yes, Lionel Messi will be known as the GOAT, right? He will be known as the MLS GOAT, potentially, one of the greatest players to ever play in this league.
His stat sheet production is...
But he is going to be remembered. Inter Miami will never be remembered. No one will give a damn about Inter Miami because this is how they actually play. This is how they actually play. You can sign whoever you want. You can do whoever you want. This team is trash. It's coached like trash. Javier Mascherano, people were telling me all last year, he deserves Coach of the Year shouts. He deserves Coach of the... What the fuck are you talking about? This guy's biggest tactical change last year was to take out an aging striker after he spat upon multiple people and started a brawl. Oh, congratulations. Great job. Great tactical maneuvers there. One of the best coaches in the league, by the way. Yeah. Best coach in the league, and he's literally doing a bad knockoff version of Minnesota United. How do you fail at being a bad knockoff version of Minnesota United? Cowardly, disgusting, Berterame's trash, Messi's fine, everyone else is ass. Dissolve the club. You've been a disaster. You've been an embarrassment. You've been an embarrassment.
Man, like, you know, I was, as usual, I was a little more cautious than you were leading up to declaring the whole era an abject failure. It's kind of hard to disagree at this point.
It's a marketing gimmick, Ari. It's not about the football. It's about the marketing. They can't even win a tournament that they have said, this is our biggest priority. This is our number one priority.
Well, they can't even get close.
You can't even get close.
You lost to Nashville SC.
Christian Espinoza. It's not even a real club.
Christian Espinoza owns you. Like
Christian Espinoza.
He's been on
MLS
the San Jose
lifer.
Earthquakes for the last 7 years, and you couldn't make it past him.
Okay, here's the new agenda, Ari. Is Christian Espinoza better than Lionel Messi?
He might be.
He might be.
He might be. His team is moving on in Conacaf Champions Cup, and Messi's isn't. What do you think Messi's thinking right now? This is the other thing, Inter Miami fans. You know how old that guy is?
Time to go to Newell Young Boys.
38, 39, 38. He's old. He's
old.
not going to be there for that much longer. He's really not. And what are you going to do then? I guarantee you're not going to be camping out in our comments section because you're not going to have anything to say. So
who's going to come there? Mbappe? Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, and I know we're going hard on Inter Miami right now, but I'm a little bitter about the offseason discourse. I harbor some ill will over that, and anyone who doesn't like it, tell the boys to go out there and play better than that because that was sorry as hell, man. That was embarrassing. And when you were in Leagues Cup final last year, that was literally the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen on a soccer field.
Yeah.
Your striker crashed out and spit on a team staffer, and then you had to accept your second place medals on the field in front of everybody and then watch the Seattle Sounders lift the trophy with confetti falling down and celebrating the title that you just lost to them. It doesn't get more disgraceful and humiliating than that. The loss would be bad enough, but then you throw in the brawl starting and the spitting, and that turned it into one of the most abjectly disgraceful displays of poor sportsmanship that you'll ever see in any athletic competition. So, I mean, it's tough, man. It's tough, but if you guys don't want us to be reveling in it like this, then you can't have results like that because that is just, oh my God. Anyway,
absolute embarrassment, dude.
We can keep it pushing now. But did you have anything else on?
Let me say one more thing.
Yeah, please.
Let me say one more thing.
Please. There can't be enough reveling in this.
When we beat Inter Miami, the next week we went down there and we played them and they beat us 3-0. And a lot of people
3-1. 3-1.
3-1. I'm so sorry.
Obed Vargas,
I'm so sorry.
eraser.
Obed Vargas, Atletico Madrid legend, scored against you. You're nobody. Messi, you're nobody. He did leave MLS.
Keep cooking, though, because I forgot to bring this up. Keep cooking.
I just think it's interesting because Inter Miami fans constantly say, well, it doesn't matter. Like, we beat you the next week. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Which that is, I cannot believe that people say that.
It's the stupidest thing ever.
If you were one of the people saying that, you need to reevaluate the entire path that your life has taken because that is one of the most hilariously embarrassing takes that you could have possibly ever conjured up. But anyway, sorry.
Congratulations, guys. You are able to win a random game after midweek fixtures, after losing in a cup final. Maybe you're going to go on to win another Supporter Shield this year. Hell, maybe you're going to go to win another MLS Cup this season. But you will never be the Seattle Sounders. You will never even be close to being the Seattle Sounders, a club that can get it done with kids that they find in Alaska. Literally found a kid in Alaska, put him on in a Conacaf Champions League final and won the trophy. You will never win that trophy because you're cowardly and you hide behind aging stars who do nothing. They do nothing. You will never be the Seattle Sounders. You wish to be us, but you can never be us. So I'm sorry. We welcome you though. If you want to become a Sounders fan.
You'll never have Pete.
You'll never have Pete Kings, dude. You'll never have King Pete. I'm sorry.
All right, we cooked on that for longer than anticipated, but it was worth it. I just absolutely loved. We weren't watching it; we were doing our live show at Flat Stick at the time.
I was watching it through the eyes of literally a bar full of 300 gleeful Sounders fans. You know how much Inter Miami are hated across the league is that I could hear in unison the cheers across the United States. The whole bar erupted when they lost. You're the villain.
And yeah, you're the villain. That's what it is at the end of the day. So,
but the villain always loses, Ari.
The villain always loses in the end, and that's what we saw in this tournament. It's just, they just really did not. They were not even close, man.
No.
And I was saying over the offseason, there is no way with how much money that they spent and getting Berterame, who has been an elite player in CONCACAF for years. That is the perfect move that you could make, the ambitious move you could make to try and make a run in CONCACAF. And that dude can't even score a single goal. So it's hilarious. I inject it into my veins. And if you were in our comment section over the offseason, Lobbing Scorchers wins again. So big ups to us. Noah, honestly, that was the second to last topic I had for the evening. So why don't we just talk about this Minnesota game a little bit to close it out?
Sure.
And we can call it a wrap for this episode.
If you want more content,
bonus,
become a YouTube member. We're going to put out a bonus episode alongside this. So It's just, listen, what can I say? We should take an ad break here, though.
Okay.
Just so we know, and we can actually, jump it in here.
We're going to take an ad break. We'll be right back.
Hickson is a Seattle-based hot sauce and vinegar brand making some of the most flavorful hot sauce around. We've partnered up to craft a small batch, green blended hot sauce, fermented to perfection with bright flavor and medium heat. We love it so much, the label even has our faces on it. You sold out the first batch, so we made another. Visit lobbingscorchers.com/sauce to order and be sure to check out the full line of Hickson Ferment sauces, including their limited seasonal flavors.
I'm Jessica with Hickson Ferments, and you're listening to Lobbing Scorchers.
Welcome back from the ad break that you definitely did not skip.
Better have not skipped it.
Noah, let's talk a little bit about, again, like I said at the top of the show, I don't really care that much about this right now. This season is all about CCC right now. It's all about this Tigres series. It's all hands on deck. Everybody lock in. That is that's the thing going on right now. But the Sounders do have a matchup on Sunday, recording this on Friday. Games on Sunday, 11:30 a.m. Pacific time kickoff. That's kind of weird, but
sure, whatever.
I'm
okay with it. I'm actually okay with
it. No, I like earlier in the day more than later in the day. Get it done. We can get the post-game show done, calls taken in the afternoon. That's going to be fun. But, you do have to, when you're playing in CCC, play your league season as well. So Seattle will be doing that at Minnesota on Sunday
against a 54-year-old James Rodriguez.
Yeah. So the site, man, you know what's? I didn't even really put this together, but we're gonna get to revel even more in the downfall of Seattle's opposition, because this is a rematch of the round one best of three series between these two teams in the
where
MLS Cup
Minnesota
playoffs
United
last
did not
year.
win a game.
Yeah, well, they did advance. They did technically win the series, which was, it turned out, their MLS Cup final. Because
it was their MLS Cup final.
I've never seen a fan base more excited about a round one victory than that one.
Seeing their head coach, who I literally can't name, or I
was gonna set you up for it, but just go.
I'm so sorry, but when there is literally a send off video for your head coach, who I cannot say his name. He's like Voldemort to me. Jumping up, screaming, going on his knees like, we just fucking won MLS. You won no trophies, buddy. And then you got your ass handed to you at a middle to lower end championship club. Again, I fucking predicted that. I literally said, you are going to be irrelevant. You're going to be nobody. You're going to be boring. You're going to be shitty. Once your terrible coach leaves, he's going to go to a middling championship club and then get fired. I literally said all of that. All of it. It's on the podcast. I've posted the clip. What happened? What happened, Ari? All of that. And they're a middling club, and they're not good. And they signed James Rodriguez on a 6 month contract. He has yet to play a full game. He's yet to start. He came in after they were down 6-0, 6-1. And he's doesn't look like he really wants to be there, to be quite honest with you. So Minnesota United, I got to be honest, this is going to be my MLS Cup. This match where I get to watch Peter Kingston put it on your head, where I get to watch Tino Lopez absolutely demolish you, where I get to watch Paul Rothrock go sicko mode on your head. We better win this game by 100. I'm genuinely, this game is actually important to me. Now that I've talked about it, this game is very important to me for my posting needs.
See, if they weren't in a CCC series against Tigres right now, I would be fully on that exact same page. If they go out and are gassed in Minnesota and it doesn't look very good and it's like a not that good of a draw, or maybe they lose the game by a goal or whatever, or maybe even they get played off the field, I'm not going to care all that much. But what I will say is it's kind of like a negative episode, but it's because these are the two fan bases that we have beef with from last year. So they're
it's kind of a get back.
You had Inter Miami crash out, which that's a get back, and now you got Loons away coming up, which is, but we did try and tell you, Minnesota. We tried to tell you last year, congratulations on Dane St. Clair trolling your way through a round one best of three series. Fair play. Like, when it comes to the playoffs, it's ends justify the means, and they advance based on what the format is. But we did say at the time, you are not coming within a country mile of MLS Cup playing like that. Like, you never will. Your roster is not that good. Honestly, Rick Rams, the The reason he was doing that was because he knew his team wasn't that good. And guess what? It got way worse over the offseason. They had a lot of guys outgoing that they didn't replace.
They shipped their three best players.
And out of desperation, let's be clear, out of full-on desperation and the need to generate some sort of excitement from anywhere, they signed 43-year-old James Rodriguez, who...
It's, again, a marketing move.
Aren't you getting, like, weird vibes from that so far? Like, every time their coach talks about him, he kind of seems like, I don't know, I could be wrong, but just sort of reading the tea leaves, it seems like he's not super stoked that they went and got James. I think he probably feels like it's more of a marketing stunt than something that's going to help him as a coach. James is still, I guess, an okay player, but this is not Real Madrid James. It's just really, he has not been that for 5-6 years at this point. He is when he plays for Colombia, but that's it. I would be surprised.
He signed here so that he could have fitness to play for Colombia's squad. This has nothing to do with Minnesota.
And I think the coach knows that.
Yes, he knows that because, again, when you're trying to build a culture, when you're trying to build a locker room, you don't want to sign a player who is a leader type player who is probably off to the side doing whatever the fuck he wants as your DP for 6 or 10. He's not a DP. He's on TAM, but like, bro, I'm sorry. This is one of
they're like
dumbest fucking moves.
They're kind of, I think the idea is they're trying to build their attack around him eventually, but
it's always good when your GM and your coach are not on the same page.
It really feels like they're not with it. The coach doesn't seem super stoked he's there. I don't think anyone thinks that. You think James is really that fired up to be in Minnesota United? Maybe. Probably not, though. Probably not. But anyway, like, long way of saying this Minnesota team's not good right now. Like, Seattle should be able to take a result in this game with a rotated lineup.
San Jose is much better.
Yeah, like they've played a lot better teams than this so far this year, and they've won 5 out of 6 games. They are in the middle of the Seattle Sounders Roadshow. It's an insane travel schedule. There can't be all that much gas in the tank, but like you said, man, like it's a situation where if you have Pete out there in this game, I feel actively good about that. If you have Tino out there in this game, which you're going to have both of those guys out there in this game, I feel actively good about that. They're going to have Petkovic probably in all likelihood starting this game.
Yes.
I feel good about that. Everything I've seen from Petkovic so far, I feel like has been a lot better than I expected. So I think, you're probably going to see Rothrock start this game. It seems like what they're doing is having CCC be the Areola thing, and Rothrock's the super sub, which I'm fine with. I think Rothrock has been cooking as a super sub in CCC. He had 2 goals as a super sub in CCC so far. So I'm good with that. But you're probably going to have Rothrock out there. I imagine, Schmetz is incapable of benching Christian and Jesus.
Impossible.
So it can't be done. So you're going to probably see guys like that out there. But whatever lineup they put out there, I cannot think of a team I'm less intimidated by than
they're
this
going to get up
team.
for this game, Ari. They're going to get up for this game. You don't think Andrew Thomas leading in the goal wants get back? You don't even have to have bulletin board material because all of these guys were on the team last year. They know they want to win this game. I'm telling you right now, this could be a bloodbath. This could be a bloodbath.
I would be surprised just because of the fuel take situation.
I'm telling you,
I feel like it's very low.
I mean, maybe, but like honestly, Ari, the feeling that I have for Minnesota United, you don't think that all of the players who were involved in that shit show of a 3-game stretch want that? Schmetzer is not the kind of guy. He wants his get back, and I think he's going to get his get back.
Hopefully, man, because if they lose this game, then we have to hear about it again from Minnesota
fans.
They're
going to clip our damn
everything that we just said just now. Right. We're going to get clipped. But you know what? I don't care because, like, I don't.
How many trophies do you guys have?
I frankly don't respect the opponent enough in this situation to care about their opinion.
Correct.
Like, I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry. It's just you got to earn more credibility than they have after what we saw with the Ramsey ball last year, which the real Minnesota United fans out there, and I know there are some of you out there, a lot of them acknowledged that it was trolling what was going on last year, but there was a lot too that were like, nah, man, that's just footy, you gotta.
I love negative football. I love negative football.
We do what
negative
it takes to win. Isn't this fun and cool and quirky? No, you guys it was a terrible team to watch. No. It did get results. Like, I can't really argue that. They finished higher in the West than Seattle last year and scored pretty much the same amount of goals somehow. So good bit, but that's not going to win you anything, and it definitely doesn't earn all that much fear or respect in my eyes, which, I'm sure Minnesota fans don't care about that, nor should they. I'm just saying, man, like when I go into a game like this, it's there's not a lot of juice from the opposition here for me right now, especially because their roster is pretty decimated. They got 6-0'd in Vancouver. 6-0'd. That's not good.
You can't lose 6-0.
They had to put James out there for his club debut when it was 5-0.
Yeah.
And then they got scored on again. That's
what I'm saying is like, dude, the midweek upset, frustrated Vancouver Whitecaps put 6 on that team. You're not telling me that the Sounders aren't holding a fucking grudge from last season? It could be a bloodbath.
Moose was going off at the end of that series too.
Yeah.
He looked like he could have. I mean, he ended up only getting 2 goals, but he got unlucky to not have 3 or 4, frankly. So I think if Moose starts this game, I think he's going to be motivated and hankering to score. So no, I mean, if they draw this game, I'd be like, fine, whatever. If they lose, I'd be mildly tilted, but more focused on CCC. But I think there could be something to what you're saying. Like I know for a fact everyone on the team is not happy with how that series went last year. They felt like they were way, way better than that Minnesota team. In fact, I think we know that they were way, way better than that Minnesota team. And they got Dane St. Clair. Okay, they got trolled and they got eliminated. Fine, whatever. But this is a chance for get back. And it's a chance to keep the road show going, man. Like, the road show has been cooking so far. They haven't lost a game yet.
They're road dogs,
I
man.
guess the Real Salt Lake game, but I consider road show like all the successive games because that was the second game of the season. Yeah. This is like we're into it now. They've been traveling for the last couple weeks. They're going to keep traveling. They got to go to Minnesota. So I think they will be up for it, and I think that we could see an inspired effort because of all the stuff that you're talking about.
I'm here for it. Let's see it. We will see you in Minnesota. But we're not going because I would never go to there.
Definitely not going to Minnesota for this game. There is one more news item going into this game that we do need to hit before we call it a day, which is that it is Brian Schmetzer confirmed Jordan Morris is going to play in this game.
He's going to play.
Like, it's probably going to be 20 minutes at the end of the game, but he is going to play. So that indicates that both Jordan and the team feel like he is healthy enough to do that. So obviously there is always the chance that he gets hurt 8 minutes into it, but theoretically that he should be in a place physically where that's not any more at risk of happening than it would be at any other time. I still think that what we've been seeing is just insanely bad luck. I know people don't want to hear that, but I'm very, very excited to see what this offense looks like with Jordan Morris back playing because we've talked about how. So, well, let's talk about this because we've been doing the Osaze Moose debate over the last couple weeks, and I think it's fair to say that neither of them have really separated themselves in that way. They've been starting Osaze. Moose did score a goal in the last game, but I don't think either of them have done anything to a level where I feel like Jordan should have a starting spot on the line because of how well either of them are playing. And this is how I was thinking of it. Now, tell me what you think of this framing. Like, what we've been talking about with the Osaze Moose debate is, you got Osaze, who's much more well-rounded. He offers you a lot more in hold-up play and link-up play in terms of playing within the offense. He's much more physical. He plays bully ball, but he's not scoring right now. And with Moose, you have a guy who doesn't offer you as much of that all-around attributes, but is incredibly, uncannily good at getting in good spots to poach goals. And he's been doing that dating back to last season. And I still think if you ask me who's more likely to actually score a goal in a given game, I would pick Moose. So what you need is a striker who has the combined attributes of Osaze's all-around game, the hold-up play, the link-up game, the physicality, the pace, all that stuff, but with Moose's finishing ability and his ability to get in good spots in the box and find goals and actually score them. That's literally just Jordan Morris, skill set-wise. He is the physical ability and the well-roundedness of Osaze with the ability to find spots and finish as Moose.
Correct.
So if you put that skill set onto this offense, I think you're going to see it elevate. And to me, so that brings me to my big point, which is that I think, man, like I understand why they came out at the beginning of the year with Osaze up top and Jordan listed out wide because of how good Osaze was in preseason. Now that we've seen how the team is looking for a few games, I think the first choice 11 is one of the Pauls out wide in that spot and Jordan Morris at the 9. Like I think that's what you got to do because both of the Pauls look incredible right now, especially Rothrock. So that's your best lineup in my opinion. That's your best lineup. And Jordan Morris, I want to see him as the starting number 9 on this team as soon as he's back. And I really think there's genuinely a lot of potential for that to elevate the offense because I feel like the offense has looked good, really good at times so far this year. Even with Osaze not scoring, imagine how it would be though if Osaze had been scoring. Jordan Morris, say whatever you want about him. You can crash out about the DP escalators. That's fine. The dude is literally the leading goal scorer in the history of the Seattle Sounders. All right, the idea that he can't score goals or isn't reliable when it comes to scoring goals is just literally not bared out statistically. Like he does. The floor is what I have the most confidence in with him. You know, like he is going to get, if you put him in enough minutes without him getting injured, he's going to get you some goals. That's just going to be baked in. So like, that's kind of what this team needs from that spot right now is the goal production, the consistent goal production. But also, you know, I think Moose's skill set is probably realistically lends itself more to a super sub role in most situations. So that's how I feel about the return of Jordan Morris. What do you think?
Well, I completely agree. I mean, I've been saying for a long time, Jordan Morris is the 9. Jordan Morris is the 9. When he was playing in preseason, I literally said on this podcast and others, I was concerned about him being a winger. About him, I understand that he tucks in more. He's more of a like false 9 winger. It's like a weird, but whatever. It doesn't matter. I don't like it. He can finish. He has good hold-up play. He has great vision. He is an incredible passer. People forget that. He has exactly what you're saying. He is Moose and Osaze in one body.
Yeah, exactly.
He is and should be.
I never thought about it like that.
9.
But then I was like, wait a minute. They have
guys.
They have
we have this at home.
You have them. It's the combination of both those players.
So literally, let me give me Moose, give me Osaze continuing to play as well in that rotation. But I think Jordan Morris is your best option at the number 9, and I'm just. Honestly, as a human being, I'm very happy that he's coming back and that injury was not as severe as it could have potentially been.
Yeah, no, it's exciting that he's going to be playing on Sunday. That's a lot sooner. It's honestly a lot sooner than I thought he would be working back into the mix, just because I felt like they've been playing pretty well. They've won 5 out of 6 games to start the season, all comps, and you really, 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 really can't be rushing him back in this situation and having him get re-injured. If he gets re-injured again 8 minutes into the game or 8 minutes into his first appearance, he's going to crash out. I'm going to crash out. We're all going to crash out. Like that. So I'm trusting here that if they think that this is the right timing, that they know what they're doing. Maybe that's misguided, but I also think that he probably is more adamant about making sure he's fully healthy and good to go before he comes back. So if he's feeling like that and he's being honest about that, then hell yeah, get him out there on Sunday. Let's see what he can do against this trash team. And then maybe that gives you a little bit of a boost going into this Tigres series. I'll tell you what, if you give me the choice between any of these 3 strikers in this Tigres series in both of these legs, give me Jordan Morris all day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, however you want to put it, man. But like, we also have a lot of proof of concept that he comes through in these situations, which is kind of, I feel like his reputation almost is like the opposite of that.
It's
sometimes.
Weird. I don't know why.
Yeah, where people are like, well, he doesn't do it in the big games. And I'm like, I mean, did you watch the playoffs in 2019? Did you watch the playoffs in 2016? Did you watch CCT? Have you watched him play one time in his career? Like he's scored some of the biggest. Did you watch the playoff games against LAFC?
Yeah.
He scored like a ton of the biggest goals in club history in the biggest moments, in the biggest situations. And not only that, this is a stat that I don't think I've brought up before, and I'm not sure a lot of people who perpetuate these narratives don't know. He's the leading playoff goal scorer out of any MLS active player with, I think, 10 or 11. Literally not a single MLS player right now has scored more
Not Denny Bouanga.
playoffs goals than Jordan Morris. So I wish we could just kind of dispel. I feel like anytime people have these like anti-certain players agendas, you have to do when he does score goals, it doesn't count. So I'm going to say that he doesn't score the goals in the big games and the big moments. He literally does. And if there's one guy on the team that I trust to score a goal against an opponent like Tigres, like this team that they're about to play, it's Jordan. It still is, even with the injuries. So
couldn't agree more. I love you, Jordan. Welcome back, King.
Welcome back. Excited to watch you play on Sunday. All right. I think we can call it right there for this episode. I'm not sure how long we went there, but we've been ripping this content all week and across the state. So if it is a short one,
this is what we love. This is what we love. We will do this until we die, potentially.
Yeah. And frankly, I was like not sure I was going to have the juice for this one today. And then we started.
You had more juice than I did.
And then we
today.
started talking about Inter Miami, and I was good to go, man, because
Ari was like, I don't know if I want to come to the studio today. I said, get in your car. Get down here. I promise you. Once you get here and cooking,
once you get here and you start reveling in Inter Miami's absolute embarrassing crash out, their latest one, they love doing that. It's their biggest passion in life, and they did it again, blessing us with the content. It doesn't get better. So that really, I feel like I'm flying on adrenaline now. But all right, we're gonna call it a wrap right there. We're gonna be back at it on Sunday. Post game show. We'll be taking calls, talking about whatever the result may be, talking about how Pete played, all that good stuff, and then Nico and I for kickoff on Monday. So the grind doesn't stop.
And a bye week next week.
Bye week, but we'll still be doing all that CCC coverage, and I'm looking forward to this series, Tigres. I'm going to stick by it. I'm actively glad that it's not easy-ass series against FC Cincinnati. Give me the drama. Give me the best opponent. Let the chips fall where they may. But all right, until Sunday, we'll catch you guys next time. Love y'all.
Bye. See you in the bonus.